WrestleMania Night 1 is over. And I do have my notes by here because obviously the show went on for 4 hours. And I have a gripe about that, which we will talk about after. But I will be looking at my notes here. There won't be any photos, it'll just be this background at the moment. Because I tried doing this video once already and the photos got flagged, which is a little bit stupid because they're photos. Anyway, WrestleMania Night 1 is now dusted. And some of the matches were absolutely just top tier 5-star level matches. But sadly though, we had two which were kind of like, really? This is on now? This is on Mania? But we'll get into them. Obviously, coming from Las Vegas, the first match of the evening was our World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther against Jey Uso. Now with this, sadly, it was a very boring match, and I'm actually thankful that it wasn't the main event. Obviously, we had a whole host of things where people were like, you know, the Royal Rumble winners are not in the main event of either WrestleMania nights. Which is understandable because we've always had whoever wins the Rumble always goes and wins the main event at one of the WrestleManias. This didn't happen. With this, the match just didn't seem to flow, and I don't know what was off. Either Gunther or Jey or both were off. For some unknown reason, these two workers who they have done some absolutely amazing and incredible matches. Gunther has had, I have no idea how many 5-star matches when he was in NXT. Then when he came over to the main roster, his Intercontinental Championship run was incredible, and he had some of the best matches of those cards. But this one, it just didn't seem to gel, I think is probably the best thing between these two. But overall though, we did actually get Jey Uso locking in a rear naked choke and getting the win. He is now our World Heavyweight Champion, and I am absolutely amazed that going forward, they're going to have to work out how they're going to use him. I don't think I should have said amazed there, but you get the point. But that was the first match, folks. And like I said, I'm really happy now that Jey is the champion. He deserves it. He should have had the title run about a year or two ago, though. But we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully, when we get a couple more matches, we more than likely will get a rematch or backlash between these two. Let's just hope that match works out a little bit better. Going into our second match of the evening, and this was for the Tag Team Championships. It was the War Raiders against the New Day. Now with this, I actually don't know why this match deserved a spot on the WrestleMania card. The reason I'm saying that is mostly because... motorbike. Mostly because over the last couple of weeks, the New Day and the War Raiders and whoever tag team they're fighting against on Monday Night Raw hasn't exactly been great. You know, the New Day always do great work. They always do. But the build-up to this match, it was like, what's the point? You've had more of a build-up on SmackDown for those tag team championships. You know, the Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, Gargano and Ciampa, and obviously Pretty Deadly. And it's interesting to see that they would have those guys do a TLC next week on SmackDown instead of having a TLC match at WrestleMania. Guarantee that match would have been better than the one we got with the New Day against the War Raiders, because this match, it just seemed to have just gone over very, very lukewarm. You could see that the crowd weren't really into it, which kind of sucked, because again, you'd want everyone on the match to have a great match. You do, because you don't want to go there, you're paying all this money and you're like, yeah, I'm going to see great matches. And then the first two matches of WrestleMania are like, that could have been any other Raw. There was nothing special. There was no oh my god moments. There was nothing. But obviously the New Day got the win, and they are now holding on to their 12th championship. Now going into the gripes I got with this show is, the show ran for 4 hours, and I tallied up exactly how many minutes each wrestling match was. And this is where you get to the old SmackDown filler part. 4 hours was the show. 1 hour and 55 minutes was how much wrestling was on the show. Yeah. Okay, take out, 15 or so minutes for the video packages or something between each fight, and you're still looking at 1 hour and 50 minutes of filler. Again, we could take out the Hall of Fame inductees coming out, so that's another 3 or 4 minutes. But overall, though, when you've got a 4-hour show and you've got less than 2 hours of just wrestling, that's a pretty much of how much filler that they got in there. And the majority of the time, they were just rerunning the same ad. WWE Shop, Snickers, Xfinity. And again, I understand sponsors and everything else. I have them over on my main channel, and you do have to put out these videos if you want to get the money, and obviously you need to promote it. But having this, a 4-hour show, it could have been over and done with easily 3.5, maybe even 3 hours. And they could have cut a lot of filler out. And sadly, some of the matches, they didn't even go that long. But going into the next match though, which was one I wasn't really looking forward to it. There was 2 matches of this type on the evening, and this was the first one of Naomi against Jade Cargill. And to be honest with you, I am absolutely ecstatic to be proven wrong with this match. This match was so much fun. And the build-up, we have seen obviously Naomi going against Jade and back and forth, sneak attacking each other. But this match, it was absolutely great. There was so many great spots in this. We even had one where Naomi did an X Factor on Cargill outside of the ring. Well, to the outside. Which, the X Factor is one of my favourite moves of all time. X-Pac, one of my faves. And that move, I've always seen it as, that could do a lot of damage to someone. But seeing that Naomi did it on Jade from the ring to the outside, that was beautiful. Chef's kiss of a move. But then, this goes to show how strong Jade Cargill is. Naomi went to the top rope, jumped off, and Jade Cargill grabbed her mid-air into a suplex. Jade Cargill is strong as hell. But it was a fantastic match, great match. Sad it kind of went on a little bit too short, but Jade got the win, and this was actually my match of the night so far, out of the 3 we got going. But then we rolled straight into Jacob Fatu taking on US champion LA Knight. And now for this, now I'm not too sure what's going on, but I don't know if the music was too loud in the stadium or if the crowd just wasn't energetic or into anything. But when Jacob Fatu came down, and along with LA Knight as well, you couldn't really hear the crowd. It was almost like the music drowned everything out. We actually had this issue a few years back with another pay-per-view. I think it was SummerSlam, when people were coming out and you couldn't hear anything because it was just like either a big stadium and it's just like you can't hear anything. But with this one, they both got in the ring, and again, it was a great match. I was so happy now. It seemed to be that each match progressively started to get better and better. But obviously with this one, we had a lot of good moves. We had a lot of good offense from both teams. And with Jacob Fatu, he's been one of the most consistent wrestlers over the last few years. And I don't think he's had a bad match or a bad spot while he's been with WWE. The guy is he's just a beast and he's a monster. And obviously he got the win. And to be honest with you, this match, Knight as well as Fatu, they put on a match worthy of being on a WrestleMania card. This is how people should approach the matches at these marquee events. You know, you've got WrestleMania. Perfect example, SummerSlam 2000, you had the TLC match, the very first one. Great match, one of the best ever. But then at WrestleMania 17, they had to put on another TLC match. It surpassed the original. And it's, when you go to WrestleMania, you need to have every single match is going to be top tier, 5-star worthy, and you have to have those OMG moments. You just have to have it. And with this one, it was there. It had its highs, it had it low. You know, Knight and Fatu pulled off a jumping moonsault into a BFT, which just looked incredible. But obviously Jacob Fatu, he pulled 3 moonsaults out of the bag and he got the win. Now, the best thing happened for this. After he won, he's got the belt. Who is standing outside the ring congratulating him? Haku. Haku was there and he's just like there. He's like, you know, his head gives his son a kiss and everything. And that match took the spot away from Jade and Naomi for match of the night. It now went to LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Now next, sadly, we saw this coming. On Friday Night SmackDown during the the 6-man tag, we saw that Creed pulled Rey Mysterio out of the ring and somehow Rey got injured. Earlier in the afternoon of yesterday of night 1, Rey Mysterio had to actually pull out of the match, which sucked because I knew for a fact this match was going to be just spectacular. One, you got Rey Mysterio, one of the greatest luchadors ever, going against Grande Americano, or as we all know, you know, Chad Gable. But this match, holy hell. It only went on for about 7 or 8 minutes, and overall, I just wish it went on longer. That's how good this match was. And we exactly had what we were going to see. We had the high-flying, arm-dragging, drop-kicking awesomeness from both athletes. Now, obviously, with Chad Gable, he's always been a spectacular wrestler and he's always been underused in WWE. But seeing him now as Grande Americano, everyone has just got to be like, yeah, this is the guy. You know, we got to do something more with him because he literally is this generation's Kurt Angle. He really is. And even though we got Rey Fenix who took over from Rey Mysterio, I don't think Rey Mysterio could have had a better match than what these two put on. Rey Mysterio is a legend, always will be, one of the greatest luchadors ever, but seeing how Rey Fenix adapted and literally in the space of a couple of hours, like, oh yeah, you're not competing on WrestleMania 2, right? You're facing Chad Gable in one of the matches, and then you're gonna be like, what? You have to prepare, you gotta get yourself ready. And to be honest with you, Rey Fenix pulled it off. And to say, the moves that we saw in this is absolutely incredible. Grande Americano, Mr. Gable, he pulled off a move that I have never seen before. And again, that could be because I don't really watch a lot of Lucha Libre matches and everything else. But another thing as well, before we carry on, WWE has actually acquired the luchador promotion AAA. That is going to be interesting to see, especially having all these brand new luchadors coming up as well, and some of the greatest to ever do it. We're going to get some amazing high flying, we really are. But with this, Chad went up to the top rope, and instead of just doing a 360 splash, he did a 360 splash, but he did it as a flip backwards and landed with it back on Rey Fenix. That could have gone wrong in so many ways, but it was absolutely incredible to see. We saw Phoenix as well. He pulled off a beautiful looking Goodbye Amigo kick. But with this though, he actually hurt his foot, obviously, because we actually saw Grande Americano, before he had the kick, put the metal plate in his mask. Obviously, he kicked the mask, done his foot in, got him down. Grande Americano then went to the top rope with a diving headbutt and he got the win. This is what Mania is all about. The last 3 matches have been spectacular, and it's like, right, this is WrestleMania now. It's sad to see that the Jey Uso, Gunther, and the New Day and the War Raider matches just seem to be like, yeah, we could watch it any time on Raw, which sucks. The next match on the card, I wasn't looking forward to one bit, and that is because we have seen just how childish these two have been over the last couple of weeks when they've been doing interviews and in the ring with face-offs. Obviously, we are talking about the Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair against Tiffany Stratton. And to be honest with you, again, I am so happy to admit I was wrong. Because this match has been all over the place, the build-up. You've had both of them going against each other, bringing in personal spites, bringing in backstage gossip and everything else. And obviously, when they did the split-screen interview a couple of weeks ago, when Charlotte Flair literally went off script and she just tried to bury Tiffany, it's like, come on, what are you trying to do? It's almost like, oh, we got up-and-comers coming now. I've been away for a year or so because I injured my knee. All these people are coming up, but I should be there, not them. And to be honest with you, to me, that kind of sounds a little bit like jealousy. And to be honest with you, it actually sounds like Ric Flair of old. But with the match, it started out in only something I can describe as that Joey Styles of ECW would just be shouting, "Catfight." And it was absolutely hysterical. That's all I had going in my mind when these two just started just hitting each other, because it was so reminiscent of ECW. This match though, it was actually more of a brawl than a wrestling match between the two. There were a few moments where it looked like Flair was actually sandbagging Stratton, because during a few moments, during an Irish whip into the corner, when Stratton did it, Flair just looked like she was just jogging over. She wasn't running or like, oh my god, she's been thrown over. That's what it looked a bit like that. And it's like, in my mind, I was like, are we going to get the same as she had with Nia Jax a couple of years ago when those two actually started a real brawl in the ring? That just kept going through my mind. But overall, though, with that, though, one of the best parts of it is when Tiffany started attacking Charlotte Flair's injured knee, or her surgically repaired knee with a brace on. And with that there, that's when she's finally decided, right, let's get into it. Take out the knee, which she did, and obviously she got the prettiest moonsault going, and she got the 3 count to win the match, which I am actually really happy that Charlotte Flair didn't win, because if she did win, it would have been like Cena ECW One Night Stand. If Cena wins, we riot. No one wanted Charlotte Flair to win, and again, no one wanted her actually in the main event women's title race, because, come on, there's other people more deserving than her. But with this one, overall, it was actually a really good match. Again, I'm glad to be surprised. It won the best match of the night. For me, that is still the LA Knight and Fatu for now. But it was good to see, because Charlotte Flair, she seems to be able to be like, right, I'm just putting people over now, as it should be kind of thing, you know? And Flair's greatest match, though, to me, is still her against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39. That was such a great match. The main event was upon us, folks. And this is how you do a WrestleMania main event. I'm just going to say from the get-go, this is a 5-star rated match, and it's my favorite match I've seen all year. It was such a good match. The entrances were on another level straight away. Rollins came out first, and he came out with a flamethrower, and then it all went black. Then he appeared back on stage dressed all in white, and his sunglasses actually had thorns sticking out the side. Obviously a Jesus complex, because it is the Easter weekend. And then Reigns just walked out. And when you have people who are doing theatrics, you know, Seth Rollins, the flamethrower, the costumes and everything else, Roman Reigns came out ready, and that was it. And he just walked down to the ring as he normally does. Not slow, not fast, just walking. And the entire crowd was just eating it up. When you can just do a walkout and you're not performing, you're not throwing up theatrics, you're literally just walking to the ring and the crowd goes absolutely mental, you know that the crowd loves you. And this is exactly what it was. But then we had a video package, which I was quite surprised to get. And this video package was all about CM Punk. Going back to years ago when he was here, you know, his last WrestleMania was 12 years ago. And just the build-up with him saying, I'm CM Punk, I'm this, I'm that. And then you got Paul Heyman saying, one day you will main event Mania. And it was a great video package. And it got everyone riled up and like, yes, we're excited for this match. But then this is what I absolutely loved. Living Colour started performing Cult of Personality live on the stage. It was phenomenal. Punk came out obviously with Wise Man, Mr. Paul Heyman, and Living Colour and him were just moshing it out, man, which is absolutely amazing. And they started taking selfies together. Obviously, this was the biggest pop of the entire night, which, to be honest with you, I was really surprised. When Rollins, Roman and all them came out, the pop was loud, the pop was great. But then when Punk came out, it went to another level of loudness. That's what I like to see, and again, like I said, this is how you do a main event of WrestleMania. As the bell rang, the crowd just erupted. They were just standing there, and the crowd here, ding, 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 and it was absolutely awesome. And from start to finish, it was just incredible. Spot after spot after spot. This deserved the main event status that it got, because if you had the heavyweight championship Gunther against Jey Uso, it wouldn't have been good. A lot of people would have been like, well, that was a shitty way to end WrestleMania Night 1. You know what? We had it a couple of years ago when it was Seth Rollins against Brock Lesnar, the very first match. Lesnar and Seth put on a great match because they were like, right, if I'm going out first, I'm going to put on the best match and try and top it. That's the mentality people should have going into WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels, when he was younger and he was doing it, he made sure he had the best match on any card. And he'd go back and say, try and top that. That's how you need. That's the mindset you need in this game. But going forward though, like we were saying with this match, it went everywhere. Suplex on trash cans in the crowd. Roman Reigns leaped like the Jey Uso of old over the barrier, over the Prime Hydration unit, and taking out Rollins and Punk. It was absolutely incredible, to be honest with you. These guys put on a show worthy of the main event. And like I said, best match I have seen all year by far. Hopefully I'm looking at the Fatal 4-Way for tonight to win, because to me, that is the match of the weekend that I'm looking forward to the most. I think that is going to be great. But with this though, we had a few near falls, which would have been acceptable on any other show. Literally. If it was on SmackDown, hell, even if it was like Survivor Series, Royal Rumble or whatever, these near fall finishes, they would have been acceptable and people would have been like, yes, great. But no, this is WrestleMania, baby. And we possibly got the greatest counter to a spear. And again, it involves Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins seems to have the mindset of going into Mania, trying to make a finishing move, one of the best looking ones ever. He did it with Randy Orton. When he did that super RKO out of nowhere on Rollins, you will never see anything top that. But with this one, Roman went for a spear, and Rollins, he turned it into a pedigree. It was absolutely incredible to see, and it was a great looking pedigree as well. Then you had the storytelling. There's so much going on with this match. It was just like, this is it. This is how you do it. This is how you get the fans engaged. You know, the way they were all going. You had mostly Rollins looking at Roman and saying, me and you, let's take him out first. Then it's just me and you. He doesn't deserve to be here, but me and you do. We can fight this out for the future. And then you had obviously Roman, who was kind of confused. He was like, do I accept? Do I take him out? Do I partner with you? What do I do? And it was absolutely great to see. We then had 2 power bombs through both announce tables. Roman doing them both to Seth and CM Punk. And to be honest with you, these new announce tables, they look heavy. And the way when Punk went through it, we possibly had the best line ever by Pat McAfee. He went, I didn't even know these tables could break. That was just brilliant. And you could see he was genuinely like, what the hell? Because they are solid plastic now. But it was good to see. But then, the ending. The goddamn ending, guys. This is what a lot of people thought ever since Rollins said to Heyman, you owe me a favor. And that was Paul Heyman turning on Punk and Reigns. He low-blowed them both. Then he handed the chair to Seth Rollins, and Rollins got the win. It was just like, oh my god. Like I said, this was a 5-star match, and the best one I've seen all year, and to be honest with you, definitely top 10 WrestleMania main event ever. It was so good. Overall, the main event, well actually the last 4 matches of the card saved this night one. It really did. Like I said, the 2 opening matches, it was like, come on, what's going on? It's a little bit boring, and you're not giving that WrestleMania moment to people. But overall, though, for myself, it was an 8.9 out of 10 for the entire show. It was overall great, you know, great night 1. And night 2, fingers crossed, will only get better. Let's hope. Guys, like and subscribe, but let us know down below what you loved about night 1, and we'll see you tomorrow for the night 2.